Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Idaho Dad channel. My wife and kids and other friends and family members have really been pushing me to start a YouTube video just sharing my feelings and thoughts about a variety of different topics and things that I experience in life, and just being willing to share it with the world. And so I thought I'd give it a shot just to see how it goes. For this first video, I just thought I'd open up with an experience that I'm going through with my 16-year-old daughter. She has a boyfriend now, and I'm not quite sure how to navigate that whole situation. In the very beginning, it was tough for me because she approached me when she was 15 years old and told me that she had this boy that was interested in coming to talk to me, and I was just like, no, I'm not ready for that right now. It was not a time in my life where I was okay getting ready to sit down to talk to a boy about courting my daughter. I was very uncomfortable with it, and frankly a little scared, if I'm being honest about it. And she came to me with her mom and said, listen, when's an appropriate age to sit down and have the real conversation about boyfriends and things like that? And I said, the real answer is you have to be 16 years old at least, and or have a driver's license. And the reason for that is because I believe at the age of 16, you develop more maturity, you develop more understanding of what's going on around you. You have more wherewithal to figure out what your surroundings look like. You can be more aware of different situations. You can be aware of the environments that are happening, the people around you, what they're doing, all those different types of things. And so the maturity level begins to increase and heighten and heightens, but it brings awareness to where you're at in life. And on my daughter's 16th birthday, she brought this boy over, or he came over himself and asked me if we could sit down and talk. And even though I was slightly worried about it, a little bit scared about it, and just turning the page in a chapter in life that I have not gone through before, I said yes. So we came out to my shop, which is where I'm at now, and we sat down and talked. We talked for about 45 minutes to an hour, and it was a really, really good conversation, I will admit. The boy was very receptive. He answered all my questions, and he was just very thoughtful about what he had to say. He was very careful with what he had to say, but he was also very honest. And there were some questions that I asked him that he didn't quite understand the answers to, and we worked through it, and it was actually pretty cool. And at the end, he was able to become my daughter's boyfriend, and I'm okay with that. But a lot of people ask me, what did you do to uh, try to intimidate him? Because the typical cliche is to intimidate boyfriends and clean guns or break out the knives and have this manly, intimidating use of force type situation where you display all your weapons and things like that. And that was never my intention nor my desire to do it that way. As a matter of fact, I had approached his mom before we had a conversation and talked to her about it, and she was okay with him coming over to talk to me, which I thought was pretty cool of her as well. But my real goal, my intention to to talk with this young man was not to intimidate him, and if I was going to intimidate him, it was going to be through a very specific tactic. My ultimate tactic to intimidate him and or to just draw realistic expectations with him was to help him understand that for him to court my daughter, he would have to be okay with him learning how to love me the way he loves a dad, but also me learning and being able to love him like I love a son. And when he heard that, he was very receptive to it. He explained that his dad was out of the picture, and he explained that he was excited about having me come alongside him and be a godly dad figure to him and show him the way and team up alongside him when he has stuff that he's going through. And I think that that's what's super cool. I don't think you get to hear that stuff anymore these days. And in addition to that, we just kind of walked through what it looked like with his walk with Christ and where he's at with Christ. We looked at what the triggers might look like when you face temptation. When you're around each other, when you're in a situation where you're starting to think about the desires of a young man or the desires of a young woman and how that all plays out, how to deal with those type of situations and getting yourself out of that environment and getting away from the temptations, recognizing the red flags, recognizing the triggers, and then once you recognize them, how to deal with those, how to get away from those so that you don't have a relapse and you maintain your uh, your dignity. You maintain your peace. You maintain your virginity ultimately. And he was receptive to that, and so was my daughter. And I think that that is a super cool piece. Um, it's an exciting piece, and I think that one of the things that we talked about near the end of our conversation that I think is really helpful is knowing that if for some reason they were to separate, they were to break up for whatever reason, that there would be a mutual understanding from his side, but also from my daughter's side, that there would be no humiliating, there would be no character slander, there would be no defamation, there'd be no horrible things that are exchanged back and forth. That wouldn't exist. And I explained to him that I wouldn't tolerate that I wouldn't have that, that we would find a mutually favorable conclusion on that, and there would be no pictures posted, no videos posted, stuff like that to defame or slander either one of either him or my daughter, and that's not acceptable. So he agreed to that, and I think that that was a super cool thing that he did. It's exciting to see young people develop themselves and be willing to sit down with people like me and talk about the things that they're going through in life, but also be willing to listen to godly counsel and godly advice, and then to adhere to it and take it with them as they go. And I have great kids, and the boy that my daughter has brought home, even though it's a little bit tricky for me, is it's an exciting time, but it's also a super scary time. I struggled a lot going through this whole process, and it was a challenge for me to get through this. But with God's strength and God's help, I was able to navigate it, and I was able to come alongside him and come alongside her, and just be the dad that they need, be the dad that they want, and the dad that they need to have to be successful in life. So it's my goal to continue to be around them, to watch them grow, watch them develop, and then nurture them in their spiritual walks and their spiritual journeys, not only with each other, but in relationship with God. And I'm just glad and fortunate that I get to be a part of that. And my wife is a part of that as well. And we just get to see how God works. So stay tuned. We have more videos coming, and try to do one at least once a week. That is what they recommend. So I'm going to try to give that a shot. But stay tuned, and talk to you guys again soon. Thanks.